My boss humiliated me in a company-wide email for a mistake he made, so I forwarded the original thread proving his error to the entire board of directors and the client he lied to. I work as a senior project manager at a mid-sized marketing consultancy. We handle high-profile corporate branding, and the pressure is always high, but usually, I love it. The only problem is Marcus. Marcus is the VP of our division. He's the kind of guy who fails upwards, wears suits that cost more than my car, and has an ego the size of the building. He's a micromanager when things are going well so he can take the credit, and a ghost when things go wrong. We've been working on a massive rebranding campaign for our biggest client, a tech firm I'll call Omnicorp. This account literally pays half our salaries. The deadline was yesterday. 2 weeks ago, the client specifically requested a clean, minimalist design for their rollout, very Apple aesthetic. I briefed the creative team, and we were good to go. Then Marcus swooped in. 3 days before the deadline, Marcus called me into his office. He told me that the minimalist look was boring and played out. He demanded we switch to a chaotic, brutalist design with neon colors because he read an article saying it was the next big thing. I pushed back hard. I told him the client specifically asked for clean lines and white space. He cut me off and said that I didn't have the vision for leadership. He told me to just do what I was told and that he would handle the client if they had questions. Crucially, he sent me an email instructions afterwards confirming the change, stating that the client doesn't know what they want until we show them. Ignore their previous briefs. This is a direct order. So, we did it. We pulled 3 all-nighters. We delivered the neon nightmare yesterday. This morning, all hell broke loose. The client hated it. They didn't just dislike it, they were furious. They threatened to pull the contract immediately. I was expecting a meeting where we'd brainstorm a fix. Instead, at 10 a.m., my inbox pinged. It was an email from Marcus. Subject, urgent, project failure and accountability. He didn't just email me. He CC'd the entire company. Everyone. From the CEO down to the summer interns. In the email, he wrote that he was shocked and disappointed by the submission. He claimed that I had gone rogue and ignored established protocols and leadership direction to pursue my own misguided artistic vision. He apologized to the team for my incompetence and said he would personally be taking over to clean up my mess. It was 3 paragraphs of pure character assassination. I stared at the screen. I felt the blood drain from my face. I could hear people in the open plan office whispering. I felt humiliated, betrayed, and physically sick. I looked over at his glass office, and he wasn't even looking at me. He was typing away, probably saving his own skin with the board. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't a rational decision. It was pure, white-hot rage. I hit reply all, but I didn't stop there. I added the board of directors to the CC line, and then, with a heart rate of about 200, I added the 3 main contacts at Omnicorp, the client, who were on the original project thread. I didn't write a long rant. I just wrote, please see the attached email chain from dated October 14th regarding the design direction changes, specifically the instruction to ignore the client's briefs. I attached the email where he called the client clueless and ordered the design change against my written protest. Then I hit send. The office went dead silent about 30 seconds later. Did I just completely destroy my career by including the client? Or was this the only way to clear my name? What do I do when I walk back in there? Commenter 1. Holy S ****** do. NTA for defending yourself, but you went nuclear by including the client. The board is one thing, internal politics are messy, but showing the client that your VP called them clueless? That's mutually assured destruction. You definitely burned the bridge with this company, but honestly, it sounds like Marcus was trying to fire you anyway to save his bonus. You just took him down with you. Legend. Commenter 2. As someone in HR, my jaw is on the floor. You absolutely had to defend yourself against a company-wide defamation, but adding the client was a career-limiting move. That said, if I were on that board, I'd be more worried about the liability of a VP lying to a major account than a PM proving he was following orders. You need to document everything right now. Forward all relevant emails to your personal account immediately before they lock you out of the server. Commenter 3. I literally grabbed popcorn. Marcus sounds like a textbook narcissist. He publicly executed you to save face, so he deserved exactly what he got. He broke the social contract first. If you hadn't sent that proof, you would have been fired for incompetence and it would have followed you forever. Now, at least the truth is out. But yeah, get a lawyer. Like, yesterday. Update 1. 4 hours later. I am writing this from my apartment because I was just escorted out of the building. After I hit send on that email, the silence in the office was deafening. It was like the air had been sucked out of the room. I sat there, staring at my monitor, listening to the blood rushing in my ears. I could see heads popping up over cubicle walls, looking for me to Marcus's office. About 2 minutes after the email went out, Marcus's door flew open. He didn't look like the slick executive he usually portrays. His face was bright red, a vein was bulging in his forehead, and he looked like he was vibrating with rage. He stormed out of his office and started marching toward my desk. I honestly thought he was going to hit me. I stood up, just instinctively. He got within 3 feet of me and started screaming that I was unprofessional and insubordinate. He shouted that I had violated company confidentiality by looping in the client. He was loud enough that the entire floor stopped working. I didn't shout back. I was surprisingly calm, probably because I was in shock. I simply told him that I was correcting the record regarding his false statements about my performance. I said that since he felt the need to involve the entire company in my performance review, I felt the company deserved the full context. He started sputtering, pointing a finger in my face, telling me I was finished in this industry. That's when the CEO, who rarely comes down to our floor, stepped out of the elevator. She looked absolutely icy. She didn't look at me, she looked straight at Marcus. She called his name in a tone I've never heard her use before, quiet, sharp, and terrifying. She told him to get into the conference room immediately. Then she looked at me. She didn't smile, but she didn't look angry either. She just told me to go to HR and wait there. I sat in the HR waiting room for an hour. My phone was blowing up texts from coworkers saying, "OMG, and you are my hero, and Marcus is getting reamed." Finally, the HR director called me in. She was visibly stressed. She told me that due to the sensitive nature of the communication involving a key client, I was being placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. She handed me a letter. She said they needed to secure my laptop and badge. I asked her if I was being fired. She replied that no determination had been made yet, but that unauthorized communication with clients regarding internal disputes is a serious breach of contract. However, she also mentioned off the record that the board has received my attachment and is reviewing the timeline of events. I packed my box. As I walked to the elevator, a few people gave me subtle nods. One of the junior designers actually silently fist-pumped. I got home about 30 minutes ago and opened a beer. My adrenaline is crashing and the anxiety is setting in. But then, I checked my LinkedIn. I had a new connection request. It was from the vice president of marketing at OmniCorp, the client. He included a message with the connection request. He said he found the internal dynamics illuminating and asked if I was available for a quick call tomorrow morning. Specifically not on my company line. I'm freaking out. Do I take the call with the client? My company technically suspended me for unauthorized communication. If I talk to him, am I giving them ammunition to fire me for cause and sue me? Or is this my lifeline? Commenter 1. Do not take that call without legal counsel. Your company is already looking for a reason to pin this on you. If you talk to the client and say the wrong thing, they can sue you for tortious interference or breach of NDA. Reply to the client, thank him, and say you need to check your schedule. Then find an employment lawyer immediately. Commenter 2. The client reaching out to you directly is huge. It means they know Marcus is a liar and they value your honesty, or at least your receipt keeping. But commenter 1 is right. This is a minefield. If you take the call, listen more than you talk. Do not badmouth your company. Just stick to the facts of the project. But seriously, get a lawyer first. Update 2. The next morning, I didn't sleep at all last night. I spent the entire night reading through my employment contract and looking up employment lawyers in my city. I found a guy who specializes in wrongful termination and whistleblower cases, and I left him a frantic voicemail at 3 a.m. He called me back first thing this morning. I gave him the rundown. He actually laughed, when I told him about the reply all. He said it was legally risky but beautiful. He advised me to take the call with the client but gave me a strict script. Do not disparage the agency, do not admit fault, and do not disclose proprietary data. He said to frame it as clearing up the creative direction to ensure the project's success. So, at 10 a.m., I called the VP of OmniCorp. Let's call him David. David didn't waste time. He told me that he had suspected for months that their feedback wasn't getting through to the design team. He said Marcus had been blaming junior staff turnover and creative blocks for delays and weird design choices for the last 6 months. David told me that my email was the smoking gun he needed. Apparently, Marcus had been charging them 4 premium consultation hours to come up with these new visions, like the Neon Nightmare, which were actually just Marcus forcing his bad taste on us. Then David dropped the bomb. He said OmniCorp is reviewing their contract with my agency. He told me that they are considering pulling the account entirely unless there is a significant restructuring of the team handling it. He asked me point blank, if we demand that you lead the account directly, bypassing Marcus, would you be willing to return? Or should we just fire the agency? I was stunned. I told him that I care about the project and the team, but currently, I am suspended and forbidden from working. David chuckled and said, let me make a phone call. I hung up, feeling like I was in a fever dream. I made more coffee. I paced around my apartment. An hour later, my personal phone rang. It was the CEO of my agency. She sounded tired. She didn't apologize, but her tone was completely different from yesterday. She asked me if I could come into the office at 2 p.m. for a reconciliation meeting with the board. She said that new information has come to light regarding Marcus's management style and that they wanted to discuss my future at the company. I told her I would be there. I called my lawyer back. He told me to go, but to sign nothing. He said, they are terrified. You have the client in your corner and proof of executive misconduct. You hold all the cards right now. Don't let them bully you. I'm about to head in. I'm wearing my best suit. I feel like I'm walking to my own execution, or maybe a coronation. I have no idea which. The board wants to meet. The client wants me to run the show. Marcus is presumably still in the building. How do I handle this meeting without looking arrogant, but ensuring Marcus never touches my work again? Commenter 1. This is the justice boner I needed today. The CEO calling you personally? You won. But stay sharp. They aren't your friends. They are protecting the bottom line. If keeping you keeps the client, they will keep you. If firing Marcus saves the contract, they will fire him. Go in there cool as a cucumber. State facts. Demand a raise. Commenter 2. Don't just ask for Marcus to be off your work. Ask for his job. Seriously. If the client specifically requested you, you have immense leverage. If they try to offer you a probationary return, walk away. The client will probably hire you as an internal consultant if the agency falls through. Commenter 3. Be prepared for Marcus to have cooked up some other lie. Narcissists don't go down without a fight. He might have deleted files, faked timestamps, or blamed you for something else. Bring printed copies of everything you have. Do not trust their technology. Update 3. That evening, I am exhausted. I feel like I've gone 12 rounds in a boxing ring. I walked into the conference room at 1:55 p.m. The entire board was there, along with the CEO and the HR director. And, sitting at the far end of the table, looking like he hadn't slept in a week, was Marcus. The atmosphere was toxic. Marcus wouldn't look at me. The CEO gestured for me to sit. She started by saying that the incident yesterday was regrettable and unprofessional on all sides. She tried to equate my reply all with Marcus's public shaming. I cut her off. I politely but firmly told her that I would not accept a narrative where defending myself against public defamation was equal to the defamation itself. I saw one of the board members hide a smile. Then, she turned to Marcus. She asked him to explain the discrepancy between the client brief and his instructions. Marcus launched into this convoluted speech about creative agility and how he was protecting the team from a stagnating client vision. He tried to spin it that he did tell me to listen to the client, but I had misinterpreted his visionary guidance as literal instructions. I didn't say a word. I just slid a manila folder across the table to the chairman of the board. Inside were printed screenshots of our Slack messages. Me, October 12th Marcus, the client specifically said no neon. They hate it. Marcus, October 12th I don't care what they hate. They hired us for my expertise. If you don't do it my way, start looking for another job. Do not contact them. I own this relationship. The chairman read it. He passed it to the CEO. The room went silent again. Marcus turned pale. He started stammering, saying that those messages were taken out of context, that we were joking. The CEO looked at Marcus and said, simply, please leave the room. He tried to argue. She slammed her hand on the table. Now, he walked out. He looked small. Once he was gone, the tone shifted instantly. The CEO told me that Omnicorp had contacted them. She said that the client has made it a condition of retaining the contract that Marcus is removed from the account and that I am reinstated as the lead account director. She offered me the promotion. She offered me a 10% raise. She said they would wipe the slate clean regarding my suspension. I sat there for a moment. I remembered the advice from the comments and my lawyer. I appreciate the offer, I said, but given the reputational damage I suffered yesterday, and the fact that I am essentially saving this agency's largest contract, 10% isn't going to work. I asked for a 30% raise, a direct reporting line to the C-suite, bypassing whatever VP replaces Marcus, and a written apology from the company clearing me of any wrongdoing to be sent to the same distribution list as the original email. The CEO looked at the chairman. The chairman gave a barely perceptible nod. We can agree to the financial terms and the reporting structure, the CEO said. But a company-wide apology is difficult for legal reasons. The humiliation was company-wide, I replied. The correction needs to match the scope of the error, and the client needs to see it too. They asked for a recess. I sat in the hallway for 20 minutes. When they called me back in, they agreed. I start my new role on Monday. Marcus is currently on leave, which everyone knows is corporate speak for negotiating his exit package. I walked out of the building and saw Marcus sitting in his car in the parking lot, just staring at the steering wheel. I didn't feel happy, exactly. Just relieved. And tired. Update 4. 1 week later. I am typing this from my new corner office. The view is nice, but the air conditioning feels colder than it did in the cubicles. Monday was surreal. I walked in at 9 a.m. sharp. The first thing I noticed was that Marcus's nameplate was already gone from his door. His office had been scrubbed clean. It was like he never existed. At 10 a.m., the email went out. Subject: correction of record and leadership update. It was sent from the CEO's desk to the entire company. It read, regarding the email dated October 14th concerning the Omnicorp project, executive leadership wishes to retract the statements made regarding my name's performance. A subsequent review has confirmed that my name acted in full accordance with client directives and professional standards. We regret the miscommunication. Furthermore, effective immediately, my name is promoted to account director for the Omnicorp portfolio. We wish Marcus, last name, the best in his future endeavors. It wasn't a heartfelt apology, but in the corporate world, it was basically a surrender. You would think I'd be popping champagne. The junior staff certainly were. I had people coming up to me all day whispering congrats and justice served. One of the graphic designers left a cupcake on my desk with a little flag that said survivor. But the vibe from the upper management? Absolute zero. I had my first leadership meeting on Tuesday. I walked into the room, and conversation stopped instantly. The VP of strategy, a guy who used to play golf with Marcus, wouldn't even meet my eyes. Every time I spoke, the CEO took furious notes but didn't smile. I realized something terrifying. I am a liability to them now. I am the employee who went nuclear. I am the one who proved that the board can be bullied. They gave me what I wanted because they had to, not because they wanted to. And then, the auditing started. On Wednesday, finance rejected my expense report for a $12 coffee I bought for a junior client associate 3 weeks ago. They cited lack of sufficient documentation. I've never had an expense rejected in 5 years. On Thursday, IT accidentally locked me out of the server for 3 hours while doing a security audit of users with elevated privileges. And doing the work. I'm fixing the OmniCorp account. David, the client, is thrilled. But I feel like I'm walking through a minefield. I feel like they are waiting for me to slip up, even a little bit, so they can fire me for cause and reclaim their authority. Am I being paranoid, or are they trying to manage me out? I got the title and the raise, but I feel like I have an expiration date stamped on my forehead. Should I start looking, or stick it out to prove them wrong? Commenter 1. You are not paranoid. This is quiet firing 101. They are making your life difficult administratively hoping you'll quit, or they are building a paper trail to fire you for compliance issues later. They hate that you won. You bruised their egos. Do not get comfortable. Commenter 2. Ride the waves, man. You have the title now. That account director title looks great on a resume. Stick it out for 6 months, save the extra cash from the raise, and then jump ship to a competitor. Use them like they used you. Commenter 3. They are absolutely trying to manage you out. The expense report thing is a huge red flag. It's petty, but it's a warning shot. Make sure you are perfect. Don't be late. Don't expense a stick of gum. But honestly, call David. The client likes you more than your boss does. That's your leverage. Final update. 3 months later. Well, Reddit, you guys were right. For the last 3 months, I have been the best employee this company has ever seen. I turned the OmniCorp account around. We launched the rebranding, the clean, minimalist one, last week, and their stock price actually bumped up. It was a massive success, but the hostility inside my agency never went away. It just got quieter. I wasn't invited to the annual leadership retreat. Oversight, the CEO claimed. My request for an additional junior project manager was denied due to budget constraints, even though we just billed OmniCorp a fortune. I was working 80 hours a week to make sure everything was perfect because I knew if I missed a single deadline, it would hang me out to dry. I was miserable. I was rich, but I was miserable. Then came the inciting incident. 2 weeks ago, I had a quarterly review with David at OmniCorp's headquarters. It was a celebration lunch. We were eating steaks, and David looked at me and said, "You look like hell." I laughed and tried to play it off. "Just working hard for the client, David." He put his fork down. "You know, our contract with your agency is up for renewal next month." My stomach dropped. "I know. I've been preparing the pitch deck." "Don't bother," David said. I froze. "What?" "David, the launch was a success. Why would you?" "We're not renewing because I don't trust your agency," he interrupted. "I trust you. But I know your leadership. I know they covered for Marcus for months. I know they only fixed it because you forced their hand. I don't want to do business with people I have to strong-arm into honesty." He took a sip of wine. "I'm taking the marketing in-house. We're building a dedicated internal brand team." He slid a napkin across the table. It wasn't a napkin. It was a printed offer letter. The salary was double what I was making even with my raise. Stock options. Full benefits. And the best part? No billable hours. No agency politics. "I need someone to build the department," David said. "I want you to run it." I stared at the paper. I thought about the CEO's icy glare. I thought about the petty expense audits. I thought about Marcus sitting in his car. "When do I start?" I asked. I resigned 3 days later. The reaction was satisfyingly chaotic. When I handed my 2 weeks' notice to the CEO, she actually smirked. She thought she had won. She thought the pressure had finally broken me and that I was quitting with nowhere to go. "We accept your resignation," she said, barely looking up. "We'll need you to transition the OmniCorp account to the VP of Strategy before you leave." "Actually," I said, "that won't be necessary." She looked up. "Excuse me? OmniCorp isn't renewing," I told her. "They're taking the work in-house." The color drained from her face. "What? When did they tell you this?" "I've accepted a position as their new VP of Brand Strategy," I said, smiling. "So, I'll be taking the account with me. But don't worry, I'll be the one reviewing the agency's final invoices. I promise to be very thorough." Her jaw literally dropped. I watched the realization wash over her. She hadn't just lost an employee. She had lost the company's biggest revenue stream to that employee. I walked out of her office, and for the first time in months, I felt light. I've been at OmniCorp for a month now. The culture is completely different. People actually collaborate. As for my old agency, I heard through the grapevine that the board fired the CEO last week. Apparently, losing the OmniCorp contract blew a massive hole in their quarterly projections, and the shareholders were furious. Marcus is still unemployed, according to LinkedIn. I learned a lot from this. I learned that HR is not your friend. I learned that you have to keep your receipts. But mostly, I learned that sometimes, you have to be willing to burn the whole village down to save yourself. Thanks for the support, everyone. It kept me sane when I thought I was going crazy. I'm going to go enjoy my minimalist, clean-lined, non-neon office now.